Everybody, video here for you today. This is a good one to do. I've talked a lot about dam construction and places lost to history. Well, why don't we talk about a pretty cool place today that was saved from going underwater? A dam was going to be built here. This is Arkaim, just north of the Kazakhstan border in Russia. This place was discovered in 1987 when archaeological work was done in front of dam construction to see if there was any important sites. There was a few different sites found, but this one was considered important enough to preserve. They halted the dam construction. Then when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, they scrapped the dam project altogether. But here you notice there is some rings here. We'll take a look at what this place used to look like, and it's pretty fascinating. Here's a look at the landscape in the area. Then these massive earth rings here built up. Kind of very hard to notice, I suppose, if you're down on ground level, but from overhead, you notice them pretty easy. This place would have been underwater by 1988. Then by the end of 1991, it was declared a historical site in an outside archaeological museum. Now, I got a message on this place when I made my Gothic Circle video, and they said they heard this was aligned to Stonehenge, and I have heard that also. We'll take a look at that in a second. This is about 4,000 years old, they guesstimate. People have said this is kind of in the form of a spiral, and maybe it depicts the galaxy or the universe, and that's all up for speculation. Now here is a look at what they think this place used to look like. Dwellings within the concentric rings, a moat around the outside. That's pretty fascinating. Big open area in the center where they had festivals and ceremonies. They think this was built between 3.8 and 4,000 years ago. Here's a close-up look. They say the center area was about 25 by 27 meters. So pretty good size central area in there. They call this the Russian Stonehenge, but this appears to be nothing like the purpose of Stonehenge. This appears to be a massive fortress, a place where people lived and some kind of protection here. Here's a look inside of a house there. On top, it says in the houses there are wells, storages, kitchens with fireplace, bedrooms. In each flat, there were a household yard and workshop. Residents of houses fashioned dishes, wove, sewed clothes. They did carpentry and assembled chariots, the oldest in the world. But if this place is only 4,000 years old, Sogmatar, there was a 5,000-year-old chariot found. So I don't think that is quite accurate. It says there were craftsmen, bronze makers, blacksmiths, and casters. Citizens did not keep cattle, but there was definitely foundries. People were doing metalwork here. There was a kiln for ceramics found here. Here's a diagram of how they think this place once looked. There was a burial ground found. That was located about 1.5 kilometers northeast of the settlement. Bronze leaf blades, harpoons, spears, bronze arrowheads, stone and bone artifacts, horse harness accessories, jewelry, and other things were found. We'll take a look at that. Now, many websites, including Brian Foerster's Hidden in Couture website, covered this story about 4 or 5 years ago. Here it says a 2,000-year-old elongated skull was found at an ancient Russia site, and this is Arkaim. Here's a close-up of an elongated skull. They think this comes from a 2,000-year-old burial, so that would have been 2,000 years after Arkaim was originally constructed, according to their timeline. They think this comes from a woman from the Sarmati tribe that lived in the area around 2,000 years ago. Here's an article from Brian Foerster's Hidden in Couture website. He was in contact, I guess, with the people who are doing the archaeological work here. Here's the burials near Arkaim. Elongated skulls. That's a pic I just showed you. Here is what they think this woman who was buried 2,000 years ago may have looked like with the elongated skull here. Here are some more pics of skulls found in the region. Pretty interesting. This was not an isolated thing to Peru. I've talked about this all over the world. China, ancient America, Peru, now here in Russia, different parts of Europe this was done. This was not an isolated thing. There's another skull here, pretty mysterious, found in the area. Here's some more looks from Brian's website, skulls found in the area. If you like Brian's videos, his website has many fascinating articles. Here's a child found in the area with a big skull. Is this cranial binding or something else going on here? From overhead, you can clearly make the shape of this place out. From down on ground level, it's a little harder. As you can see here, down on ground level, they've done a little excavation here, it looks like. I'm not sure if this is like a visitor center here. But down on ground level, those rings are barely perceptible here. Here's a look from the place at night. Since there's no big cities around here, this is what the stars actually look like at night when you can see them. This was the celestial Nile of the ancient Egyptians, pathway to the afterlife coming from ancient America. But here you see the stars. They might have been doing astronomical observations here. Some people try to say that, but I don't see how the alignments are built into the structure, but I've only looked at this for a little while. Now let's go look around. Let's go up here to the north. This is only about a mile or two away. This area right up here appears to be something ancient about this place. Looks a lot like ancient tells or tepi coming from Turkey. Let's go down here and look. Here's a look from the top of the mound. A lot of stones up here. Seems to be piles of stones. Then we have this right over here. Certainly this was an ancient place. Probably looked a lot different a long time ago. Overlooking the whole area here. This was a pretty cool area to look around on Google Earth. I did notice one area just north here. There almost seems to be like a pathway. You notice it right here. Is this something modern? I'm just not sure. But a lot of these ancient sites, there was pathways. Is that something ancient or modern? I just can't really tell. About a month ago, I got a message saying, hey, looking at this place, I think it's aligned to Stonehenge. And I talked about the Gothic Circle, and that was just off by just a tiny fraction. And you could actually walk from the Gothic Circle to be aligned with Stonehenge, just a short distance away. Is this place aligned with Stonehenge? That's what was said during the Ancient Aliens video. Well, but here on Google Pro, I marked where the alignment would be accurate for Arkaim and Stonehenge, and it's way down here. It's about 125 miles away, so it's not in alignment. If it's 125 miles away, Arkaim and Stonehenge are not aligned in any way, shape, or form. I have said many times, I like the show Ancient Aliens. It's one of the few TV shows that shows these ancient sites. But when you attribute everything to aliens, it gets a little ridiculous. But of course, when you have elongated skulls found at a site, the UFO or alien connection is going to be made. I don't doubt they were looking at the stars here. It says this is a fortress city, a city workshop foundry, which produces bronze. This is a city temple and observatory where probably astronomical observations were carried out over time. Arkaim, I don't doubt it, that they were looking at the stars. Here is a small figurine found at Arkaim. Almost looks a little bit like the Moai heads coming from Easter Island in a way, just a general way. But they say he is looking up to the sky here. Who are these people? Zoroastrianism? Well, that's just a guess. It says there is a hypothesis that the southern Urals was the birthplace of the ancient Indo-Iranians who called themselves Arya, Aryans who were the creators of the famous religious fire worshippers and created the outstanding monuments of literature, the Rig Veda and the Avesta. Zoroaster? Well, that is just a guess. But here is what they say is a necropolis near Arkaim, and I have not found this on Google Earth. Maybe I will by the time I upload this. Here is a very old pic, what this used to look like from overhead here, a long time ago. Here's a look at some of the artifacts that were found here, some pottery with designs on them, other things found here. Here's a look at some more artifacts. These are pretty mysterious looking. I want to thank the people who sent in this suggestion. It says here, Unexplained Arkaim, the amazing knowledge of astronomy which is evident in its ruins as well as the mystery behind its builders, has led people to say an advanced civilization once lived at Arkaim. There is even speculation that the forgotten ancient people may have had spacecrafts, and that comes from the Ancient Alien show. And that is a video on ancient Arkaim. That place would have gone underwater a long time ago. If archaeological work wasn't carried out here, dam construction was halted. That seems to be a pretty fascinating place, pretty unique. Coming from at least 4,000 years ago. Could it be older? Well, there's always a possibility. Ancient Russia. Hope you thought that was cool, and you all have a very nice day.